When we say targeted universality in public health, what it means to me is that we want to improve the population's health, including everyone, but we know that some people are systematically excluded from the universality if we act the same or offer the same services to everyone. So in my mind, targeted universality is when we make a particular focused effort to include and outreach to those who might not appropriately interface or might not have access to the kinds of things that would improve their health. And if we don't do targeted universality, then we're not really providing universality in our public health approaches, because we're systematically missing those that we know our universal approaches don't fit with.
One epidemiology concept that a lot of people think about in textbooks and then leave behind and never think about it again is what we call the Rose theorem, from Jeffrey Rose, one of the key epidemiology thinkers. And essentially that's saying that if everybody in the population changes or improves just a little bit, you have a huge population shift. Often the medical community looks at one person, and the high-risk people in particular, and hopes to make them better. Well, that's an audible goal, and that's what we call downstream intervention, the making people better. But the real public health action occurs at the population level. If we can all just improve a little bit, you get dramatic changes as to the percentage of the population that's healthy. And the way that I explain the Rose theorem is I often talk about putting on Rose theorem colored glasses, not rose colored glasses. And it's a really interesting exercise to bring kinesthetic learning into any epidemiology concept. For example, with the Rose theorem, if you have people make a normal distribution like this, and you have them understand that the Rose theorem wants to make everybody a little bit healthier like this, you can actually have them look at a wall and use an up and down line as the mean or the average person, and just by making a little bit of a shift, it makes a huge and profound difference on the amount of wall that you can see when you close your eye and look at it from your left-hand eye. So that's what I call the Rose theorem shift. So one of the things that we want to do is design the world, the built environment and the policy environment, so that it impacts the entire population in a small but noticeable way. Maybe nudging people to use stairs. Maybe putting in a policy of no smoking so that it affects everybody in positive ways. But in order to shift, you have to connect. You have to get all of the sectors connected. You need to shift, and then you should start worrying about these people that are the least healthy, and do not only some universal programs to shift, but some targeted programs to squish, to bring those people up in healthiness quickly compared to the most healthy people, and reduce the gap or the inequity. So connect, shift, and squish is one of my mantras of public health.
In Winnipeg, we have always had our strategic plan where we think about the program areas that we try to address, as well as the way that we work. And the third element of that has been trying to understand this outreach that's needed for populations of special interest or of special need. And we've never really understood the term that would be appropriate for that without it seeming somewhat stigmatizing. So if you say, targeted populations, or if you say populations of special need, or all the terms that we've come up with before have always seemed like there's something about that population that maybe is wrong, or it just seems to have a negative connotation. But when we start to utilize the term targeted universality, it really is a way of us reminding ourselves that it's us that needs to do something differently to make sure that our intent to have programs or policies or partnerships or whatever public health action we can take appropriate for everyone, then that's what we need to do differently to make sure that it includes everybody. So we've used that in our strategic planning to make sure that we deliberately address the specific needs of those that might have the most social or economic or other disadvantages that would preclude them from a one-size-fits-all approach making any difference in their lives.